KREM 2 News at 4. Now a full hour of coverage and your only source for local news and weather at 4. With Tom Sherry and Whitney Ward, KREM 2 News at 4 begins now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 News First at 4. I'm Tom Sherry.
It's good to have you here. I'm Whitney Ward, and we are very pleased to report this. Snoqualmie Pass is back open. We've got a live look right here behind us right now. All drivers can officially go through the pass after it was closed for 4 days because of those record amounts of snow.
Yeah, it was tough. And you see the shelves in some of the stores because we couldn't get freight. Well, the State Department of Transportation says if you plan to travel over the pass, they want you to take it slow. DOT says just one spin out or collision could mean another closure for that pass.
So it was just yesterday there were long lines of cars that were stopped on the side of I-90 for many hours waiting for the pass to reopen. It finally did yesterday evening, but it was really supposed to just be for semis and freight travel, and there was some confusion about when everyone would be able to go. So the DOT didn't actually turn away anyone, but they were asking people to delay their travel unless it was absolutely necessary. Now, Blewett and White Pass are also now back open. White Pass actually just opening here within the last hour.
Stevens Pass is still closed, and it's going to likely stay closed until Wednesday. It's been shut down since Thursday. Of course, that's when heavy snow fell, making it impossible for folks to drive over. Yesterday's sunshine didn't do much to clear the pass. Crews were able to plow the snow only to find that the road was covered by 4 inches of ice. They hope to get at least one lane of traffic open by midweek.
That's incredible. All right, so let's take a live look now at Snoqualmie Pass. It really has been refreshing to see. Well, there it is again.
Yeah, it looks pretty good right now.
Traffic and those trucks, and I know that a lot of people are anxious for that freight to start coming back into the grocery stores and everything else. But really, it is just refreshing to see cars moving once again over there on the pass.
Yeah, the produce was way down.
Oh, man.
And it was just amazing what just a couple of days of closure can actually do for you. Let's do this. Let's talk about what we've got going on as far as our own weather is concerned. And I want to remind you that we've actually got a winter weather advisory in effect. Right now we're at 31 degrees, but you can see that winter weather advisory in effect. That includes the Spokane area and then mostly to the south and to the west of us. What's the weather advisory for? Well, it's for 4 a.m. tomorrow through noon, and it's because we could get some light snow, maybe less than an inch, but also a good probability, especially in central Washington, of getting a freezing rain or just an ice buildup on the roads. So snow, rain, and ice. That's why that winter weather advisory in effect in that area shaded in blue until noon tomorrow. So as I mentioned, it's 31 degrees. Wind is out of the northeast right now at 5 miles per hour. And you can see we've got partly cloudy conditions out there. No rain that we're tracking or snow that we're tracking at this particular time. We'll look for an overnight low tonight of 25. Tomorrow we could get some like a mixture of rain and snow or even freezing rain with a daytime high of 37. We'll do that again on Wednesday, and then I think it actually does change to just plain old rain because we look for a daytime high of 41. Then it freezes up again Thursday morning with a low of 31, and then we'll look for a mostly dry day on Thursday. And again, that daytime high pretty darn warm at almost 40 degrees.
Well, trial for the truck driver accused of crashing into a Spokane Dutch Bros coffee stand back in August is getting pushed back.
Yeah, that crash obliterated the coffee stand and injured 7 people. Police and officials say it was a miracle that they're all okay. KREM 2's Amanda Rowley shares the latest on this case.
Now, Tom and Whitney, McGavin Madrain is charged with vehicular assault. Spokane police say he crashed into the Dutch Bros coffee stand on Freya in mid-August. Now, his trial was set to begin at the end of this month, but today it was rescheduled for February 28th. Now, that's because attorneys are still waiting on the results of Madrain's toxicology report. Washington State Patrol Crime Labs runs these reports. A spokesperson told me in November this is not a new situation. They say staff shortages and an increased caseload over the last 6 years has increased turnaround times and created a hefty backlog. Now, according to a Spokane County court document, the driver admitted to a trooper at the scene that he used meth the night before the crash. Now, since the crash, the remaining debris of the coffee stand has been cleared away. Now, 5 employees were working the coffee stand when the truck plowed through the building. Luckily, no one suffered any life-threatening injuries. In fact, one of the baristas I talked to shortly after the crash told me it's a miracle they're all okay. Reporting in the newsroom, Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Amanda, thank you very much. Some troubling signs now that the Omicron variant of COVID-19 may be hitting the U.S. harder than many of us were hoping. The number of reported daily cases has topped 800,000 on one day last week, and that doesn't include those who tested positive with at-home tests or those who just had mild symptoms and never even got tested at all. So we are also seeing now a spike in hospitalizations, which is an important figure. Now, each of these graphs showing the latest data that started back in October of 2021 going through right now. Now, positive COVID cases actually closed all East Valley schools today.
But the superintendent says they'll exhaust every option before moving to online learning.
So East Valley families were notified just yesterday that classes were canceled today. However, East Valley High School and Trent Elementary were open for rapid COVID testing.
Staff were directed to the high school while students and families tested at Trent. The superintendent says the district closed schools after a number of positive cases in transportation and the food service staff. He says staff shortages have been an ongoing issue since September.
That's what's keeping us afloat, is everybody's willingness to pitch in and do what it takes to keep our kids here. You've got principals covering in classrooms, subbing in classrooms, and teachers covering for each other.
The superintendent says COVID numbers will be watched day to day, but school will be in session tomorrow. Students will be required to make up this day at the end of the year. Well, on top of dealing with an increase in COVID cases, it's also cold and flu season. So with many people getting sick this time of year, how do you know if you have just a minor cold or maybe something more serious?
It's a good question, and our Channing Curtis sat down with one local doctor who agrees sometimes it is pretty hard to tell.
It's really hard to tell right now whether our sniffles or our scratchy throat are COVID or flu or a regular sort of run-of-the-mill cold.
Dr. Gretchen LaSalle is a family physician at Multicare Rockwood Clinic in Spokane.
We're seeing some things that start with, sore throat and congestion and are lasting a couple weeks. So it's really hard to know.
She says they're seeing several patients this time of year, and not just for COVID.
We're seeing a lot more sort of upper respiratory and some stomach bug type infections kind of making their way back into the community this year. Compared to years pre-COVID, I would say it's relatively similar to a little bit better, but we're definitely seeing coughs, colds, and COVID, of course, and a little bit of flu in the community as well.
Symptoms of cold, flu, and COVID can be pretty similar and can even vary from person to person.
It's very hard to know the difference between cold, flu, and COVID. The one symptom I would say that I guess is fairly unique to COVID is that loss of smell and taste. That's pretty unusual for other viral illnesses.
However, Dr. LaSalle says there are some symptoms that mean you should get medical attention right away.
But the things that we worry about that might make you want to seek kind of that next level of care would be if you are, starting to get more short of breath, chest pain, if you have a fever that you can't control with over-the-counter medications, having trouble keeping fluids down, getting dehydrated or weak. These are signs or symptoms that might make you want to seek that next level of care.
If you are sick, Dr. LaSalle says stay at home and away from other people. She also suggests using a combination of over-the-counter medications and home remedies to alleviate symptoms.
There's a variety of different over-the-counter cough and cold remedies that are helpful. Honey is actually a pretty good cough suppressant. We don't want to use that in children under the age of 1, but over the age of 1, honey is a pretty good cough suppressant. Lemon is helpful. And really, there's a variety of different products that the pharmacist can kind of direct you to that can be helpful for those run-of-the-mill cough and cold symptoms to keep you comfortable.
So one thing that Dr. LaSalle did mention as well is that if you have COVID, you most likely won't know which variant you actually have because that type of testing is only really done at the public health level.
But she did emphasize that they still have the Delta variant going around the community right now as well. So she says that you can get your COVID vaccine and booster shot, and you can combine that with your flu shot on the same day. So remember that.
Yep, that's exactly what I did, and I didn't even feel bad the next day. So.
Good, I love that.
Oh, good. All right, the Spokane Convention Center has been a temporary homeless shelter now for the last 2 weeks. But now that events are starting up again, the city is looking for a new shelter space. When we come back, what they're looking for next.
Plus, the Zags are back in the top 5 of the newest AP Top 25 poll, and there were several big changes to the latest ranking. We'll show you where the Zags now place and a look at their top competitors when we come back.